During the Cold War, both British and American militaries conducted secret weapons testing over civilian populations, often without their knowledge or consent, to assess vulnerabilities to chemical and biological warfare. These experiments involved the release of potentially harmful substances, like chemicals and bacteria, simulating attacks with biological weapons. For instance, between 1955 and 1963, the British military released large quantities of zinc cadmium sulfide, a carcinogenic chemical, over the south and west coasts of England. Between 1961 and 1968, the military used the ship 𝗖𝘆𝗲𝗶𝗁𝗆 to spray bacteria, including E. coli and 𝗘𝗁𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗍𝗍, which mimics anthrax, over more than 1 million people along England's south coast. These tests were aimed at understanding Britain's susceptibility to biological warfare. Similarly, in the United States, Operation Sea Spray, conducted in 1950 by the U.S. Navy, involved spraying 𝗧𝗏 marcescens and 𝗘𝗁𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗍𝗍 bacteria over San Francisco to study the city's vulnerability to biological weapon attacks. The operation caused at least 1 death and sickened several others. Additionally, from 1971 to 1975, the DICE trials in South Dorset involved spraying massive amounts of 𝗧𝗏 marcescens bacteria and other agents to examine dispersal patterns and assess risks to civilian populations. In the US, Operation LAC, large area coverage, dispersed zinc cadmium sulfide particles over large areas of the United States and Canada, again testing the spread and geographic range of chemical and biological agents. These experiments, conducted in secret, often without informing the public, highlight the extreme lengths to which military powers have gone in testing weapons and assessing the potential effects of biological and chemical warfare on civilian populations. The use of drones, chemical fog, and other modern technologies in such testing raises important ethical and safety concerns. As warfare technologies evolve, it becomes even more critical to think through the logical and moral implications of conducting experiments that could harm unsuspecting civilians, as demonstrated by these historical cases. The legacy of these tests serves as a reminder of the risks involved when military powers prioritize defense over public health and transparency. The supposed purpose and goals of a government generally revolve around maintaining order, protecting citizens, and promoting the welfare of society. The key purposes and goals include establishing law and order. Governments are meant to create and enforce laws to maintain social order, protect individual rights, and prevent conflicts within society. Not neglect public safety, weaken defense systems, and fail to address crime and emergencies. This includes leaving citizens vulnerable to external and internal threats, undermining law enforcement and emergency services, and failing to maintain an adequate defense against potential dangers, leading to insecurity and chaos. Protecting citizens. Governments are meant to ensure the safety of their citizens from external threats, military defense, and internal threats, crime prevention, emergency services. Not use those publicly funded services as weapons. Promoting the common good. Governments are meant to work to improve the well-being of their citizens by providing essential services like education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social welfare programs. Not work towards the opposite of well-being, ill-being or misery, to the state of poor health, suffering, distress, or unhappiness. By neglecting public welfare, cutting essential services, and failing to address citizens' basic needs. This involves reducing access to critical services, allowing deterioration of public infrastructure, and neglecting the health, education, and economic security of the population, leading to increased hardship and inequality. Economic stability and growth. Governments are meant to regulate economic activity, provide a stable environment for businesses to thrive, manage public resources, and address inequality through fiscal and monetary policies. Not promote economic instability, mismanagement of public resources, and exacerbating inequality. This could involve neglecting to implement necessary regulations, allowing market volatility and exploitation, failing to manage public resources effectively, and worsening wealth disparities through inadequate or biased policies. Securing justice and equality. Governments are meant to strive to uphold justice by ensuring fair legal processes, safeguarding individual rights, and promoting equality before the law. Instead of perpetuating injustice, inequality, and corruption. This involves disregarding fair legal procedures, violating individual rights, and allowing discrimination or bias to influence legal outcomes, which undermines trust in the legal system and promotes social unfairness. Fostering social cohesion. Governments are meant to help create a sense of community, cultural identity, and collective responsibility, working to unify diverse groups and prevent social fragmentation. Instead of fostering division, cultural disintegration, and individualism. This involves actions or policies that promote social fragmentation, weaken shared values, and create barriers between different groups. International relations. Governments engage in diplomacy and international trade to maintain peaceful relations with other nations and promote global cooperation on issues like trade and security, instead of isolating from other nations who do not support globalization and fostering hostility. This involves pursuing aggressive foreign policies, avoiding international trade or agreements, and neglecting collaborative efforts on global issues such as security or economic stability, which can lead to conflict, mistrust, and diplomatic tensions. Ultimately, the goals of a government can vary depending on its structure, whether it's a democracy, monarchy, dictatorship, or another form. However, in general, governments are established, funded by the public, to create a stable, prosperous, and fair society for all citizens. Not focus on the goals of a select group of people.